Want to get this briefing by email? Here's the sign up. Good morning. Here's what you need to know. It is the worst terrorist attack in Spain since 2004. A van crashed into pedestrians at Las Ramblas, a popular boulevard in Barcelona, yesterday around 5:30 p.m., killing at least 13 people in an attack for which the Islamic State claimed responsibility. At least 80 others have been injured. Hours later, the Catalan police said they foiled a second van attack in the seaside town of Cambrils, fatally shooting 5 people. 6 civilians and 1 police officer were reported injured. Check nighttimes.com for updates. The New York Times aerial image by Google. The Spanish police took 2 people into custody but said that neither was the driver of the van used in the assault. They also said they were investigating a possible link between the attack and a gas explosion the previous night that killed 1 person. This was at least the 6th time in the past few years that assailants used vehicles as deadly weapons to strike a European city. King Felipe VI will join mourners in a minute of silence today near the site of the attack. Al Drago for the New York Times. President Trump condemned the attack in a Twitter post. "Be tough, strong, we love you," he wrote. In a following post, he praised the counter-terrorism tactics of a U.S. general in the Philippines in the early 1900s. Most historians say that the methods were unproven legends and that even if they were used, they did not work. One of our most read stories was a frank conversation between Stephen Bannon, the president's chief strategist, and a reporter. We explore the current state of Breitbart, which Mr. Bannon once called a platform for the alt-right. Its current editors disagree. Cast and Coal Getty Images. Mr. Trump also called the removal of Civil War statues foolish, arguing that Confederate monuments should be kept as a connection to American history. Much of the European commentariat has reacted with a disdainful shrug to Mr. Trump's ambiguous response to the violence that erupted over plans to remove one such statue. And fights over political monuments are nothing new in Europe. Our Central and Eastern Europe bureau chief writes in an extensive overview of similar debates on the continent. Above, the head of a Lenin statue that was taken down in Berlin in 1989. Ben Curtis. Associated Press. A daily exodus of migrants fleeing armed conflict, hunger and sexual violence in South Sudan has pushed the number of refugees sheltering in Uganda to over 1 million. We're looking at Africa's biggest displacement crisis, a spokesman of the United Nations Refugee Agency said. Afolabi Sotunde. Reuters. Malala Yousafzai, the Nobel Peace Laureate, is headed to Oxford. Ms. Yousafzai was 15 when a Taliban gunman in Pakistan shot her in the head for advocating girls' education in 2012. She has since expanded her campaign worldwide. Now 20, she will attend the prestigious university to study philosophy, politics and economics. One reaction: take that, Taliban. Business. Kim Kyung-Hoon. Reuters. Mazda's recent announcement that it could make far more efficient gasoline engines suggests that the shift to electrification isn't going to happen too soon. The shares of China's tech giants Alibaba and Tencent have rocketed this year to become global investor darlings. Wall Street took broad losses. Here's a snapshot of global markets. In the news, Tsvangirai Mukwaji. Associated Press. The police in South Africa have notified border crossing stations to prevent Grace Mugabe, the First Lady of Zimbabwe, who stands accused of assault, to leave the country. Associated Press. Russian veterans of the separatist war in Ukraine speak of their dreams of military glory and how they feel abandoned by Moscow. RFERL. In India, a 10-year-old girl who had been raped by an uncle and who had been denied an abortion by the country's courts gave birth to a girl. The New York Times. In Hong Kong, 3 young leaders of the city's democracy movement were jailed over large street protests in 2014. The New York Times. The International Criminal Court ruled that a penniless Islamist extremist was liable for damages of $3.2 million for destroying shrines in the ancient city of Timbuktu, Mali. The New York Times. A settlement was reached in the lawsuit against 2 psychologists who helped devise the CIA's brutal interrogation program. The New York Times. And one of our most read stories this morning is an op that looks at how a German town used humor to subvert an unwanted Nazi parade. The New York Times. Smarter living tips, both new and old, for a more fulfilling life. Peter De Silva for the New York Times. Tonight, consider a simple pasta dinner with our cacio e pepe recipe. The best running stride is the one that comes naturally. Want to take a road trip? Don't leave home without these things. Noteworthy Monique Jacques dressed in historical robes. Competitors at the Conquest Cup in Istanbul preserve Ottoman-style archery. In memoriam Fadwa Soleiman, an exiled Syrian activist who defied gender and sectarian stereotypes, died at 47. Gunnar Birkits, the Latvian-born modernist architect, died at 92. The Bundesliga returns this weekend. Here's the schedule. Our correspondent looks at how more teams are being led by younger coaches. Rugby Women's World Cup: England beat the US and France beat Ireland. The semi-finals are on Tuesday. In Rome, the planned demolition of a 1950s movie theater has spawned a civic movement and prompted a debate about the gentrification of the Trastevere district. If you're in Berlin this Sunday, consider heading to Mauer Park for the regular karaoke sessions where the Berlin Wall once stood. Backstory: Jeff Miller, Madison University Communication, via Associated Press, itching to celebrate World Mosquito Day. Sunday is the day. It commemorates the 1897 discovery of the role that the insects play in transmitting malaria, a disease that has long bedeviled humanity, killing an estimated 429,000 people in 2015, according to the World Health Organization. A Nobel Prize was later awarded to Sir Ronald Ross for the discovery. Once mosquitoes were identified as the carrier of malaria, strides were taken to prevent the spread of the disease. One of the most effective tools for preventing its spread are nets treated with insecticide that are placed around beds. Between 2008 and 2010, 294 million nets were distributed in the sub-Saharan region of Africa, a high-risk area, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Immunizations and indoor spraying have also proved effective. Do mosquitoes prefer some people over others? Science suggests they do, as the insects are drawn to higher metabolism rates, higher body temperatures and more sweat, among other factors. The best bet to fend them off may be spray, as those citronella candles don't really work. Here are some more tips. Lauren Hard contributed, reporting, _________. This briefing was prepared for the European morning. You can browse through past briefings here. We also have briefings timed for the Australian, Asian and American mornings. You can sign up for these and other times newsletters here. Your morning briefing is published weekday mornings and updated online. What would you like to see here? Contact us at europebriefing@nytimes.com.